Alright, can't wait. Finally, it's here. True Lies on 4K. We've been waiting this for a long time. I cannot wait to check. Simon, what?
Why do you want to watch that? Haven't you read the reviews?
No, are they bad?
Yes.
Oh my god.
What the actual f*** is this sh**? All three movies look like absolute gutter trash. True Lies is the absolute worst. The video looks like a Photoshop cartoon. Stop ruining your movies, Cameron.
Ugh, James Cameron ruined his movies. They are complete garbage. Stay with your DVD. Avoid at all costs. Stop ruining my childhood, Cameron.
Cameron is a piece of shit. He keeps ruining his movies with these blasphemous transfers. True Lies looks like complete garbage. Avoid! Avoid! Avoid!
No. No, it's not true. It can't be.
Does James Cameron even understand the physical media format? He keeps f***ing up his own movies. True Lies especially looks like a complete mess. It's unwatchable trash. Thanks, Cameron, for f***ing up yet another beloved movie.
Now, I already know this review is going to be a very divisive review, to say the least. There's just so much hate and negativity towards this 4K release of True Lies that people who even love the film are flat out avoiding it. They order The Abyss 4K, Aliens 4K, but avoid True Lies. And when I ask them why, their comment is always the same. Because I heard it's complete garbage. Even to the point of this comment that I saw today. And honestly, if you really think James Cameron intended us to watch his film on an analog, pixelated, 30-year-old videotape, then I just don't know what to tell you. I guess, have fun with that. But for the rest of us, as we know, Disney Fox decided to release a film on streaming last December, and immediately people's thoughts started flooding in on social media that the image is completely washed down with very heavy amounts of grain scrubbing, ridding the entire film of any kind of film grain, to the point where images look very waxy and overly processed, making the film completely unwatchable. Or, as I saw some people comment, looks like a Photoshop cartoon, whatever that means. And I told people, you know what, just hold off, wait until the physical disc comes out before you judge the 4K quality. Because on the 4K disc, it has a higher bitrate, more gigabyte space. And many times what you see on streaming does not reflect the 4K physical disc. However, the problem is everyone had already made up their minds that True Lies is complete garbage, to the point of even exclaiming, "Do not buy this 4K, avoid it at all costs." So unfortunately, the damage has already been done before the disc was even released. And then the news came out that James Cameron utilized AI deep algorithms for this 4K. And people just lost their freaking minds, even to the point of this comment here. Wishing James Cameron would be shot? I mean, come on guys, it's not that bad, as you'll see in the review. People are just so distraught over this, what Cameron did to the 4K with the grain management, the smoothing, and also using AI. They're just so distraught over this. It's just a movie, guys. I think there are more important things to get this angry about than to wish a director was shot in the head because he used AI. Really? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that True Lies doesn't have any grain management or smoothing done or any kind of work done. It does. And this 4K definitely has its fair share of problems. But the question is, why did James Cameron decide to do this in the first place with this 4K master? Obviously, he wouldn't want to ruin his own film by making it look terrible or unwatchable. Well, I have some answers for you. Now, as some of you already know, I have a friend who worked on the restoration of both The Abyss and True Lies, and I have a producer friend as well that I've been talking with who has been in the industry for a number of years. First, my producer friend's name is John Thompson. You can even follow him on Twitter yourself. And he explained this to me about the way the film was just shot in the first place. And I am paraphrasing a little bit here. True Lies was shot on Super 35mm using Zest Super Speed lenses, which he hates as they make everything overly sharp and ugly, and the raw negative looks horrible. It's not AI that's done this, it's the lenses. So right there, that's already one big problem, is how True Lies was shot in the first place with the lenses they used and the negative stock. Now, as for the restoration itself, I did reach out to my friend, again, who worked on the restoration of True Lies, and while he did say I can share the information, he asked to remain nameless, so I'm going to respect that. But I did ask him about what happened with this 4K master and also the use of AI. On True Lies, the problem we ran into while working with the original negative is there are some out of focus shots and soft shots, along with damage, meaning the perfs on the original negative essentially shrunk from decades of neglect. To put it simply, to save the film, we had a decision to make. Clean up the image with some grain management, push the sharpening further than we would have liked, among other tricks in our arsenal to salvage the film, which yes, would make those shots look a bit processed. But doing nothing would mean the film would look significantly worse under the higher resolution. It was Jim's call, and he decided to go with the lesser of two evils, knowing the shots would end up looking overly processed, but it literally looked much, much worse without it, and it saved the film for future generations. So yes, the film does look overly processed, but if we hadn't, the image would have been unwatchable. So again, the decisions were made for a very good and specific reason, and this is the part I like right here, that your average viewer just wouldn't understand or appreciate. Now, as far as the use of AI algorithms, he went on to say this: there is a lot of misinformation out there. I can say personally, we only use the same AI algorithm that we've always used as a tool to ensure accuracy. And even then, we still had to work and control the coding to achieve what Jim wanted his film to look like with the best possible version. We had a great team of experienced people who have been doing this for years and restoring each film meticulously that was even more hands-on than people think. Jim loves technology, but he also clearly understands it can't replace the human spirit. And this is another area that I love what he says right here. And I'm honestly unsure why people keep complaining about the use of AI. We have been using different types of AI deep algorithms for 20 years now. Again, it's nothing new. And I wanted to point this out just one more time here. He ends it with saying, again, I know people just won't understand or appreciate the choices made by Jim and our team, especially with True Lies. But I assure you, all these 4K titles are the absolute best of films have and will ever look, while remaining faithful to Jim's original vision of the films. And you'll see why with this in my review. So it's time, let's dive in and take a closer look at True Lies 4K UHD presentation against the previous DVD. So while the film does have some obvious work done to it, it's still a very solid 4K presentation that dominates over any previous home media release we've been stuck with for well over 25 years now. The color reproduction is just outstanding, with warmer and brighter colors that are accurately displayed here. The HDR10 and Dolby Vision grading produces excellent strong primaries looking much more appropriate and also used for specific scenes, such as with the opening scene in Switzerland, with the underwater shots, the many shots of outside in the bitter cold, inside the truck. It all carries a very pleasing, steely, cold blues. And the ice looks more bluish white than just a plain, ugly blue. It all looks just more natural and appropriate. While inside the mansion, the colors are warm and natural, with some nice contrast between white shirts, linens, all the gold fixtures. It's all very striking. Now, going back to the blue tones, the famous dance sequence between Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the hotel room has an absolute perfect shade of blue glow to it that draws out more information. Reds are bolder candy red, such as Bill Paxton's red Corvette that looks beautiful. And also we have some deeper crimson reds, such as blood and blood on faces and scarring that look more naturally red blood. Yellows are also deeper and brighter, such as when Dana is climbing the construction crane at the end. And secondary colors, such as grays and browns, are also handled incredibly well, looking healthier and stronger and more natural. Skin tones are also warmer while looking natural, while on the previous SD versions, including the DVD, the skin tones carry this slight pinkish tint almost to it. Now, we'll be getting to the skin texture soon because that's a huge area of controversy. As for the saturation, it is improved and used for the quality of the image, giving more punch and life, but also looking more natural and warm and never pushing too hot. Contrast is also much better, giving more natural light and really helps improving the daylight scenes, but also the darker and night scenes as well. The black levels on this 4K presentation are excellent. The DVD was a mess, from bright or gray blacks, even from the very start with the Lightstorm logo, it looks very bright black. And other scenes carry some heavy crushing and noise in the blacks. The 4K transfer, especially helped from the HDR10 and Dolby Vision grading, gives even truer, deeper, inky black levels, and an incredible amount of rich shadows that draws out a wealth of information in the image, even drawing out different color tones and details that were hidden in terrible crushing on the DVD. And now it's time to get into one of the biggest sources of contention with this 4K transfer, and that is the image itself. Yes, there are many shots and scenes that do look processed and smoothed out. We already discussed the reasons why behind this decision, and if you forward past the intro, then go back and you'll find out why. It's obvious work was done, and sometimes it does look quite bad, more noticeable within skin textures. That does look a little smoothed out. However, with that said, it is nowhere nearly as bad as the waxy mess of Terminator 2 4K disc. And unlike T2, the over-sharpening or smoothing does not carry throughout the entirety of the film. It's really only certain scenes or shots that were damaged from the negative where the smoothing and process looks the worst. And even with the smoothing and process looked, you just can't deny the image has also never looked this good before. In fact, detail levels are exceptionally strong, looking sharp and vivid, breathing life into almost every shot, especially the heavy action sequences, and also facial close-ups still reveal stubble, complexions, skin pores, individual hairs, makeup, even lines and wrinkles such as Arnie's face and forehead. Also, we can make out textures and clothing on walls, in and around buildings, and also in rooms. Now, there is one area I was concerned about, and that is the mid-90s rare use of CG effects in the film. And most of the CG effects, especially at the end of the causeway with the fighter jets, with gunfire and missiles, look excellent. And I was surprised how well it actually holds up, along with the model work that holds up as well. However, the ending with the Harrier jet still looks a little wonky and does stick out, but then again, it's always looked a little dodgy with the Uncanny Valley, but that's just inherited CG effects and not an issue with the 4K. Now, I also had a lot of people DMing me, messaging me, telling me that the bitrate is shockingly low, down in the mid-30s to the low 40s, and the disk size is only 55 gigabytes. This isn't 100% true. It did hover sometimes in the 40s, but generally speaking, it was between 67 up to 86 Mbps. And the disk size is not 55 gigabytes, it's 100 gigabytes. Now, another big area of controversy is with the grain structure, where many are saying that all the grain was completely removed throughout the entire film. This is not 100% true. Yes, again, grain management was used and sometimes very heavily, but it's not entirely gone through the entire film. There is still a finer layer of grain that keeps a somewhat filmic appearance, but to a small degree, and also depends on the scene. And of course, yes, I would have preferred film grain to remain. However, I also understand why decisions were made to clean up the image as much as they did, but this will definitely be a sticking point to many fans. However, I think if you can just understand why these decisions were made, and you can enjoy the obvious vast improvements of the 4K UHD disc and what it has to offer, then you're going to have a pleasing and enjoyable experience overall. All right, now we're going to get into the audio presentation of this 4K UHD disc, and True Lies comes with an aggressive and powerful Dolby Atmos track that has immediately made this my go-to demo for Dolby Atmos on my home theater. And a film like True Lies is what Dolby Atmos mixes were made for. The sound effects are loud and boisterous and nuanced all at the same time. The opening sequence alone allows for the crowd of people at the party in the mansion to be heard from various levels of the mansion. And then during the action sequence, the gunshots and explosions explode in every direction, engulfing all those channels that's clear and dynamic. And this is, again, just the beginning of the film. During all the heavy action sequences throughout the film, it also just explodes with gun blasts that come through powerful with punches and explosions, bringing heavy low ends with the bass that has some great rumble to it, along with the jet sequences, kick into high gear with every noise possible, and sounds like there's an actual jet in the room using terrific amount of overhead use. The high channels do bring an end from above, whether it be rain droplets, a rain of bullets, or debris falling, it's all there. Brad Fiedel's score is open and energetic. It just sounds incredible. And dialogue is clean and clear and easy to follow. All right, so my score for James Cameron's 4K UHD presentation of True Lies. For the video, I really hate to do this. It kind of breaks my heart because there are some great improvements and it does look impressive, especially over what we had before. But the over-processed shots and smoothing does hinder it. I'm going to have to give the video a 3.5 out of a 5. I'm giving the audio a resounding 5 out of 5. But now I'm going to hand this video over to you. Here's the real test, and I'm probably going to regret this. When you look at the differences here between the two formats, which do you like better? Head over to the comment section and let me know. And I know I'm going to regret this. And before we get out of here, I just have to give a huge shout out to Anxious Hobbit, Low Bearing Beams Podcast, and Zella for lending their vocal talents to the little skit that we did in the beginning that gave a little jab to all the real comments. Yes, they were real comments I saw on Facebook. So thanks so much, guys, for lending your vocal talents. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Keep physical media alive, and we'll see you next time.